Hello and welcome. Welcome to Around the Town with Mark. I am Mark Whalen, your host, and you know that we're always glad to have you tune in and visit with us. Well, we have another great show for you today. You're going to be very interested in learning all about this show. My guest is here to talk about, well, we all know that we live in a beautiful place with lots and lots of things to see and do, lots of historical sites. And my guest today is going to talk about all those sites and the organization that runs a lot of them. So get out your notepad to write all these things down. Watch the show. We'll be on YouTube. Let me go ahead and introduce my guest, Catherine Foley, the Executive Director of Thames River Heritage Park. Catherine, welcome.
Thank you, Mark. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here and to talk about the Thames River Heritage Park. So please introduce yourself and what you do and tell us a little bit, an introduction of the park.
Sure. Well, I'm Catherine Foley. I'm Executive Director, as Mark said, and Thames River Heritage Park is actually a state of Connecticut park, and it was 50 years in the making. And a local delegation got together here and really pushed forward in more recent years so that in 2016, Thames River Heritage Park was born. The Avery Cup House in Groton was very instrumental in the process. They were awarded a grant, and from that grant, the Yale Urban Design Workshop was contracted to put together a plan. And the initial part of that plan was to connect the sites on both sides of the river. So hence the water taxi, or what we are calling a hop-on, hop-off harbor cruise, in order that people may come and visit our beautiful area and then cruise on the Thames and be sure to visit those historic sites that are on both sides of the river.
So it's important to mention that Thames River Heritage Park isn't one park by itself.
Correct.
So don't look for that park. It's a group of lots of different parks and sites throughout southeastern Connecticut.
Exactly. And I liken it to a heritage corridor.
Okay.
I'm actually Executive Director of Thames River Heritage Park Foundation.
Okay.
Whose mission is to connect and promote, support, and help sustain the 21 heritage sites that are currently partner sites in the park. So we have those anchors of Fort Trumbull and Fort Griswold and New London City Pier, and soon to be the National U.S. Coast Guard Museum.
That's right.
In the fall, we'll have a dock going up to the Submarine Force Library Museum in the USS Nautilus. So it's a very exciting time for our area. But we also are very concerned about those smaller sites. We have such rich gems in our community.
Oh, we sure do.
Very rich. I just mentioned the Avery Cup House, which has been such a delight for me to discover after driving by many years.
Yes.
To discover this beautiful gem right here in Groton, right on Thames Street.
It's a fascinating site.
Absolutely.
It
preserved.
Represents all kinds of different periods of history, all in one building.
Absolutely.
Yes.
From the colonial time to being Victorianized. They have this phenomenal archive program where there are people volunteering as archivists, working through the correspondence that went on through generations. And the fact that the original furnishings, at least original from 18-something, are still in the house, exactly as it was in 1930.
Even the kitchen. The kitchen utensils and things are, I mean, it's really detailed.
The Ringer washing machine that my grandmother had.
Very detailed.
And my favorite, though, is the Edison gramophone with the wax cylinders and the beautifully painted horn, right?
Yes.
And very near and dear to my heart is the fact that Leslie Evans, the executive director, and her team will portray the Irish domestic women that immigrated over here in 18-something. My grandmother was an Irish domestic who came over in 1920s. So that's a very near and dear heart to me. They tell the story from that perspective, both from the immigrant perspective, which is not all that different today than it was years ago, and then the story of the history of the house in the region as told through this house and its many years of being here.
And you can learn to cook. I know she makes the pounded cheese.
Yes, Leslie does wonderful videos on their website.
She actually was a guest on my show, and she made pounded cheese for us.
Pounded cheese, yeah.
It's
awesome,
so if anybody wants to know more about pounded cheese, contact the Avery Cup House.
Absolutely.
Or watch for my show, look it up on YouTube, and you'll be able to learn how to make this wonderful, wonderful antique recipe.
Right. So Thames River Heritage Park supports obviously the Avery Cup House, which was very instrumental in getting it started, and then all the sites, Fort Griswold, that beautiful Ebenezer Avery House at the base of Fort Griswold.
Oh, and the museum, which is
right,
got
and the museum up
treasures
there,
from the Battle of Groton Heights,
right,
the Colonel's
the uniforms
sword,
there,
the
right, the sword that's in the Bill Memorial Library,
yes,
Colonel
yes.
Ledyard's sword, and
yes.
the docent is one of my favorite over at Ebenezer Avery House, and telling the stories that helped help build this region and help create. Get us our freedom down the road, you know, that
Yes.
Fort Griswold became a rallying cry
Oh, my
for
good
other
heavens,
battles
didn't
later
it?
on.
Yes,
Right.
there's so many
Right.
side stories to that.
Yeah.
Between Mother Bailey and her,
Yes. Oh, that's one of my favorites.
and
Yes.
all,
Yes.
It's
Yes.
fascinating, and there's good books out there for
Absolutely.
it that you can
Right.
look for.
And then the whole Groton Bank, which is so filled with whaling captains' houses, and
Yes.
like Thames River Heritage Park has an easy travel walking app, so you can do a walking tour of Groton Bank and learn about the whaling
Fascinating.
industries and the captains that were there, or Thames Street and,
Yes.
and Fort Griswold, and kind of learn and even do it on your own if there are no tours available
It's
that
a
day.
lovely place to bring visitors if you have out-of-town company.
Right.
Which also leads me to be, our area is so easy to get to. Besides the water taxi that will take between New London and Groton,
Right.
you can arrive by train from the New York area or Boston. We have the ferries running. There's the Groton New London Airport. So and we're right off of 95. I mean, there's so many easy
ways to get here.
to get here, to park and to enjoy all these
Right.
wonderful sights.
Right.
It's not difficult to park in any of these areas.
Not at all. So
At
if
all.
someone takes the train gets off in Union Station at New London, they hop on the water taxi, which is right there. They have a beautiful harbor cruise, but even before that, they just go right across the street and they can visit the last schoolhouse that Nathan Hale
Yes.
taught in
Yes.
before he became a spy for the Patriots.
The walking tour just around Union Station in New London
Exactly,
is fascinating.
right.
And downtown New London has
the Richardson-inspired
things.
designs
There's
of the
museum,
library.
There's several
and
house
right.
museums down there. I mean,
There's the Custom House Museum where the
Yes.
Amistad, came into Custom House Pier over that
Yes.
way. And that's a museum that has a permanent exhibit on the Amistad story and on the whaling industry on the Thames. And of course the Shaw Mansion where Washington and many other notables slept.
Yes.
And is the
Right
site of our
here
New London County.
in our Groton, New London area,
Right.
there's all this rich history. It's
And then and this is all walking distance. You go to the Hempstead houses, two
Yes.
colonial houses. I think most people who would watch the show know about the burning of New London and
Oh, yes.
and the Battle of Fort Griswold happening simultaneously on a day in September in 1781. But you have
Yes.
the Hempstead houses, which survived that, and is a real focal point and often a starting point for the New London's New Black Heritage Trail, which
Yes.
chronicles that neighborhood and the wonderful people who really helped build the community of the African Americans who were first here in our city.
Yes.
And there were quite a few. New London had a very large percentage of people who were originally from Africa. So it's a really nice trail.
Tremendously diverse group of people that have made this area what it is between
Right.
the African Americans and the colonials,
Right.
the Indians.
Absolutely.
So many different groups that have
Right.
had a part in making
Yeah.
what our area is today,
Right. Right.
which is fascinating also.
So one of the things that we've done at Thames River Heritage Park Foundation, which we started last year, is a docent academy.
Okay.
We did it last year. We graduated our second cohort in May. It's a 10-week program. It's 3 hours a week, so it's a big commitment for folks. And they get what I call kind of a tasting. It's like a wine tasting of the various sites. So the first week we do an overview. The next week we do colonial life on the Thames. The next week, and that's in New London, we do Shaw Mansion, the Old Town Mill, which was established, it did burn during the burning of New London, but was rebuilt by John Winthrop, and the Hempstead houses. And then the next week we do the Revolutionary War, and we come over here and we have tours of Fort Griswold, and they learn about privateering from Steve Manuel from the New London County Historical Society. And then another week we do the Gilded Age on the Thames, and they learn about the Tiffany's presence in New London, and
the plant
Olmsted,
mansion,
and the plant mansion,
all
and
those-
Harkness, and
yes,
right, and the
yes.
Pequot Chapel, which was built during that time period. And then, of course, our Pulitzer Prize winning playwright Eugene O'Neill, who summered at the Monte Cristo Cottage in New London.
Right there, right in downtown New London,
the richness of that. And another week they'll learn about the arts on the Thames, both the performing arts and the visual arts. So we'll do a day at the Lyman Allen Art Museum, and they'll learn about whaling on the Thames and the Amistad story. It's just a very rich, engaging program. We have lecturers come in who are very well versed on their topics, their respective topics, and then they visit each site. The only complaints we have is it isn't long enough because it's a tasting. So all are encouraged to go back. You're going to get a
Certainly.
taste of this. Go back because there's such rich heritage and history to be learned just in these three towns. I'm saying towns, the town of Groton, the city of New London, and the city of Groton.
Yes.
It's a really rich experience. And as you know, one of the things that the foundation does, Thames River Heritage Park Foundation, is it offers historical tours during the summer, boat tours. So we have several tours. One is Submarines, Battlefields, and Betrayers, the military on the Thames. And so you'll ride up and down the Thames to the mouth, and you'll learn about the Coast Guard and its presence here and start here, and the Coast Guard Academy. You'll learn about electric boat and the naval base and the history of that. You'll also learn about, and of course, the Nautilus and the first nuclear-powered submarine. But you'll also learn the story of Benedict Arnold and how he recommended the British come through the beaches and march down, and how
Eastern Point Beach, right at the mouth of the Thames River, right there.
Right, and then probably along the Pequot, Guthrie area beaches in New London, and march down to avoid the cannons that would have obliterated their boats in the river from Fort Trumbull and Fort Griswold. So you'll learn about that, and that just cemented his reputation. Here, our native son from up the river in Norwich, it cemented his reputation as a traitor, to the
colonists
patriots,
and the
if you will.
patriots.
So it's just a real wealth of rich history and culture. There's also a tour on the Gilded Age done by Gail MacDonald, who's a professor at UConn and wrote a book on Morton Plant. There's a tour on whaling on the Thames, and there's also one of my favorites is water wampum and medicine wheels, Mohegan life on the Thames, which is done by elders from the Mohegan tribe.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, almost every Saturday throughout the summer. There's a few, in fact, we have one this weekend. There's a few that are missing because of their other commitments, but they will come down and they will talk about the river as a people. The Mohegans knew the river as being called Massapequatuck.
Okay.
Pequot is in there, that Pequot River is in there, but they called it the Massapequatuck. And they talk about how they viewed the river as people too, as this living, breathing entity. It's a really beautiful tour, and they will talk about their customs and their cultures and how life was early and how that is today. And I love the props they bring. The wampum that they share that is just beautiful. And often they'll do a song and lead us in a song. And so it's just a really fun experience.
Rousing experience. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's a really fun experience in the summer. But just taking the harbor cruise is great. Just getting on the water in the summer and just going around and taking.
Not everybody has access to being on the water. So what a wonderful opportunity, especially if you've got relatives from the middle of the country who haven't seen much of the ocean before or a river like Thames River. It's an opportunity to bring your family and your friends from out of town and say, we're going to take you on a fascinating boat ride.
Yeah. And last summer we started full moon cruises, which gone over really well. Yes, we leave New London a little after the moonrise tide at times, so that hopefully you can see it on the river as we're going out. And we head out to the mouth of the river and circle around Ledge Light, and the seagulls are flying up above, and the lights are shining, and this usually big moon out on the Sound is beautiful. This summer we're going to be doing some sunset cruises on the Thames, which is going to be new for us. And we also do fireworks cruises. So when we have Sailfest here, our boats will be right out in the center of things. I went last year. I bought tickets for my sister, brother-in-law, and my niece who came up. And I have gone to the fireworks, 30, 40 years. The experience was phenomenal.
Yeah, the fireworks display
right underneath. But seeing it on the water,
very, very special.
Right underneath was just phenomenal. And we are also doing them when New London has fireworks a few times during the summer for its Let Loose Thursday.
When you're out on the boat, you never know when you're going to see a submarine.
Exactly.
We are the submarine capital of the world.
Exactly.
We've got our wonderful military men and women, like you said, the Coast Guard, and of course we've got the Navy base, and it's fascinating to see.
And we do, like the Water Wampum Medicine Wheels tour goes upriver, up north. We don't go as far as Mohegan Land, I'm going to say yet.
Sure.
But we go up to the sub base and come back.
So
we come back
really
down so they get a chance to see the sub base.
What the sub base looks like from the water side, because you can't access it otherwise.
Exactly. And once we have that dock up there, we will be offering some limited tours from up that way too.
Oh, wonderful.
We will be connecting the Submarine Force Library Museum to City Pier, and then our route that goes around.
So you're going to extend that cruise sort of like a triangle, if you will. Wonderful.
So that's going to be an exciting venture, right, for us, Actually, that's a very exciting thing. We're really looking forward to the time when we make that connection.
Oh, good.
And that eases up, as you were saying, it eases it up for visitors, that you can leave your car and just enjoy the various sites from one stop to the next.
Exactly.
But speaking of which, I mentioned to you earlier, this weekend is Connecticut Open House Day.
Oh, wonderful.
This is a great time to get out. Thames River Heritage Park is offering $5 harbor cruises.
Oh.
So it's a real bargain. You can come out, $5. It's all day pass. So you can hop on, hop off, view the sites on both sides of the river.
You can get on the boat. You
can
walk around New London.
Right.
Have some lunch, maybe.
Right.
Take the boat over to
Groton.
Have some lunch.
Right. And go visit the Avery Cop House, which is open during the day. They'll have their paper moon out. You can go take a picture of their paper moon.
And of course, the beautiful monument that we have.
Beautiful monument.
You can climb up to the top and have
that's going to be open.
view.
All 166 steps, I think.
Ooh, I've done it. It takes a while, but it's the view from up above is
I haven't done it. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. I should put that on my list.
You should try that. Yes.
And they're also giving tours. They will have tour guides available at Fort Griswold this weekend to give tours of the fort. Fort Trumbull will be open also. The Custom House Museum in New London is free this weekend, and it's open. The Lyman Allen Art Museum is free this weekend for guests. So it's an open house,
to get out there and really enjoy what we've got to offer.
And in New London, there is a shuttle. So once again, we're going back to leave your car, get on that shuttle, and it will be going around New London. It will be available on our website soon. Once the map is complete, it will be available on our website, as it will be on the New London Cultural District's Facebook page and New London's Explore New London site.
Wonderful.
So there's wonderful opportunities that
another hop on, hop off opportunity.
Hop on,
both
hop off.
on land and on the river.
Right.
That's wonderful.
It's a really fun day. It's apparently not going to be super warm, which is a great day for taking in museums.
Sure.
And visiting the forts.
But certainly it'll be lovely and warm enough
absolutely
to
lovely.
enjoy the boat ride.
Well, that's what I meant. And maybe, if it's not comfortable enough to go sunbathing, or to the beach, which I hope it is.
Yes, but it's better.
But if it's not,
you can do the beach any day.
You can
You
do
wanna do
this.
the open
Connecticut
house.
Open
Connecticut
House
Open House.
Day is, yes.
Save the beach for during the week. You want to do this for
Right,
this weekend.
exactly. It's our first day of the season. The boats are ready to go. Like I said, we'll have a couple tours, but it's the hop-on, hop-off harbor cruises will be available on Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 7. It
just gonna-
starts at 11
I
at
was
Fort
just gonna
Trumbull
ask
and
you
it
what-
ends at 7 at Fort
So
Trumbull.
the boats start at 11 and end at 7.
Right, so
Okay.
from Fort Trumbull, they're on the hour,
Okay.
every hour. At City Pier in New London, it's 20 after the hour, so 11:20 and 6:20, from
Okay.
11:20 until 6:20. And then at Thames River Landing in Groton, which is basically at the base of Fort Griswold.
Yes.
It's 40 after the hour, 40 minutes
Okay.
after the hour. So from 11:40 until 6:40. The last stop is at Fort Trumbull at 7 p.m.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
That's exciting, and
Yes.
it's always the boat's a wonderful boat.
Right.
It's very safe. It's very
Oh, it's great. They're
comfortable.
former Navy utility boats.
Yes.
These are the boats that would take men, women from vessels to shore for leave and whatnot. So
Yes.
these are the Navy utility
So
boats.
they're very
so they're kind of
comfortable.
fun.
They're nice size. They're well captained.
Yes. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Licensed. Yeah. Nice, good, high-end captains. Right. Take very good care of everyone.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
We also have, I mentioned the Docent Academy, so
Yes.
we typically have Thames River Heritage Park ambassadors. So in addition to the captain and crew member who are on the boat, we will often have an ambassador on the boat. Most of the ambassadors completed the Docent Academy.
Oh, wonderful.
So they
Okay.
are knowledgeable. They've had a taste of all the
Oh,
sites.
wonderful. So you
Right.
can ask questions and
Right.
learn about what you're
Learn
seeing.
about what
and-
you're seeing or where to go and whatnot.
wonderful.
They can tell you about all the various sites at Thames River Heritage Park.
Good.
Right.
So get on the boat and pick and choose.
Pick and choose.
Listen
and-
to what's
Right.
available and
Right.
enjoy a little bit of all of it.
Right. And there's wonderful things to do. Also, there's different events going on. The Hygienic has events throughout the day going on in the Hygienic Art Park in New London. That is one of our heritage sites also, as is the Guard Art Center. That
Wonderful.
vaudeville theater built in the 1920s, the Moroccan
Wonderful.
Theater,
Wow.
which is both a great place to see any kind of show or music event, but also a phenomenal place even just to tour and learn the history of. It's rich, from Itzhak Perlman to Lucille Ball to,
My
you know,
goodness,
to
the
Bob
list-
Dylan, right? The list of
just keeps
people who
going and going.
right,
What to
exactly,
see and do around our area.
exactly. It's really a great weekend full of opportunity here.
It sounds like it's really going to be something that people are going to want to get out there and do.
I
Yes.
certainly hope so. I
Oh.
know I do.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, I know
yeah.
I do too.
Right,
So,
right,
yeah, and
right.
for $5, it's just
You can't beat it.
can't beat it.
You can't
no.
beat it, even
Where,
if
where
it's
can you go
right.
and pay such a
Right.
nominal fee
Right.
and enjoy the tremendous amount of sights and sounds?
Exactly. And this year, our program committee put together a couple, I'm going to say, activities for families or youth to do. One, which was really done by an intern and under the direction of the program director at the Lyman Allen Art Museum, is a scavenger hunt.
Oh,
so it has
fun.
all the various sites, and you can go and there's recommended find something and take a picture of yourself with it and take a selfie and
So
put
now
it
we're
on
talking an
Facebook.
interactive
activity,
People
right?
love that,
right.
especially the kids.
Exactly. And the
Yes.
park also has something called quests. So this is kind of, I guess, similar. It reminds me of like an Indiana Jones, geared down, of
Sure.
course. But you start your quest at a certain location. It might be at Fort Trumbull, it might be at Fort Griswold, it might be Thames Street, or it might be downtown New London. And each of the four starts at a location, and there you will be have to look something up. And when you do that, you fill out something that is now going to take you to your next clue.
Oh, wonderful.
And you keep filling out the key at the end, till you get your answer. And so it's kind of a little...
I was a guinea pig
Oh, were you for the quests?
for the
Yes,
quest. Yes, Marian Galbraith
Yes,
asked
yes.
me to, she would give me a clue and follow me around, and I would have to make my way around it, and it was fascinating and fun.
Because you learn,
You
right,
learn.
while you're kind of searching
Interactive,
around, right?
yes,
Very
yes.
much like the scavenger hunt too.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well,
right.
we're getting down to just a few minutes. Is there any last words before we start to sign off?
I just hope people will come out and enjoy the park, enjoy the sites. There's 21 heritage sites. The boats are equipped with map and guides that can tell you a little bit about the sites
excellent.
and where they are located,
Okay.
and along with the boat tours.
It's
So
nice
come
to
out.
mention that there's a map, so you're not, you
Right.
know, you're not wandering around not knowing where to go or
Exactly.
where you want to go.
Yes.
That's excellent, wonderful. Well, I hope everybody visits Connecticut
too.
Open House Day this weekend.
This weekend, June 10th.
June 10th for $5. And of course, starting now, all these sites are going to be open, fun. The water taxi is going to be running. Enjoy our sights and sounds, have some great meals on either side of the river, see some art.
Listen to some great music in various
Yes.
venues on the river, right.
Absolutely.
Just have a really good time. See reenactors. I know Avery Kopp will have a reenactor dressed in colonial garb and Avery Kopp House, right.
Yeah, and
right.
sometimes at Groton Heights.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Groton,
Groton
the Fort
Heights,
Griswold, right.
they
We'll
have people
reenactors in Revolutionary
Guard.
War.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Catherine, I want to
Yes.
thank you,
Thank you.
so much for being
Thank
on
you.
my show today.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure, and I want to thank you very much. I want to thank my guests for tuning in to Around the Town with Mark today. I want you to get out to all these wonderful sights and sounds that we have in Thames River Heritage Park. I also would like to make mention that here at SECC TV Studios, get that one out quickly, Mark, at 80 Plaza Court in Groton, right near the post office, on June 22nd, Thursday, there is an open house art show, free to everybody. Please come by. There's going to be refreshments and live entertainment. You'll be able to see the studio, meet a lot of the guests, or the hosts, excuse me, like myself, meet the studio technicians, visit this beautiful place, and of course see great art, buy some great art, and support what we have here. So again, get out, see all these wonderful sights and sounds, enjoy your summer, enjoy Thames River Heritage Park. Come visit us on June 22nd here at the studio. I'd love to meet with you all and watch Around the Town with Mark on channels and also on YouTube. And thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you again very soon.